The 1st Marine Infantry Parachute Regiment is one of 3 regiments, 4 R.H.F.S, in the French Army Special Forces Brigade, heir to the traditions of the paratrooper units of the Special Air Service of Free France and French Indochina. The regiment is the only metropolitan unit besides outremer French regiments to use the motto "Qui ose gagne", translated from the British Army SAS motto "Who dares wins." Creation and different nominations. Rare fact in the French Armed Forces, the affiliations of the 1ERPIMA are various, indirectly related and numerous. The regiment is heir simultaneously to formations of the French Air Force, Metropolitan Infantry, Troops Coloniales and Troops de Marine. World War II. On September 15, 1940, the 1E Compagnie d'Infanterie de l'Air, 1E CIA, was created in the United Kingdom by Captain Georges Brigade. On April 10, 1941, the 1st Air Infantry Company was reattached to the French Army and named 1er Compagnie Parachutiste. On September 25, 1941, the 1st Parachute Company became the Peloton Parachutiste du Levant and was attached to the French Air Force. On October 15, 1941, the unit became by name change the 1er Compagnie de Chasseurs Parachutistes 1ECCP. On January 1, 1942, the unit became the French squadron of H.F.'s Special Air Service Brigade of Major David Sterling. On July 1, 1943, the unit became the 1er Bataillon d'Infanterie de l'Air, 1er BIA. On November 1943, the 1st Battalion was renamed 4E Bataillon d'Infanterie de l'Air, 4E BIA. On July 1, 1944, the 4th Battalion was renamed 2ER SAS, a 4th SAS Regiment. On August 1, 1945, the Parachute Chasseur Regiments integrated fully the French Army. The 3rd Parachute Chasseur Regiment 3ERCP, a 3rd SAS Regiment, was dissolved and the components were transferred to the 2ERCP. Indochina wore the colonial battalions. On February 1, 1946, the 1er Bataillon de Choc SAS 1EB CSAS was created from elements of the 1st Parachute Chasseur Regiment and the 2nd Parachute Chasseur Regiment. On February 23, 1946, the battalion became the 1er Bataillon Parachutiste SAS 1EB PSAS. On March 1, 1946, the 2E Bataillon de Choc SAS 2EB CSAS was created from elements of the 1st Parachute Chasseur Regiment and the 1st Choc Parachute Infantry Regiment. On September 25, 1947, the 2 SAS para-battalions regroup and became the 1er Bataillon Parachutiste SAS 1EB PSAS. On January 1, 1948, the battalion became the 1er Bataillon Colonial de Commandos Parachutistes 1EB CCP. On July 4, 1948, the 1EB CCP was dissolved. On December 7, 1949, another 1st Colonial Parachute Commando Battalion was created. On October 1, 1950, the Colonial Parachute Commando became 1er Group Colonial de Commandos Parachutistes 1EG CCP. On March 1, 1951, the Parachute Commando Group became the 1er Bataillon de Parachutistes Colonio 1EB PC. On January 19, 1952, the 1st Colonial Parachute Battalion 1EBPC is dissolved. On June 20, 1953, another 1st Colonial Parachute Battalion 1er BPC was created. the Colonial Brigades on July 1, 1946. The 1er Demi Brigade de Parachutistes SAS 1er DB P. SAS was created in Indochina from the 1st and 2nd SAS Parachute Battalions. On October 1, 1947, the Demi Brigade Colonial de Commandos Parachutistes DB CCP was created in Britannia. On October 23, 1947, the SAS Demi Brigade became Demi Brigade Colonial de Commandos Parachutistes SAS DB CC PSAS. On June 1948, the two Demi Brigades became in Britannia the 1 EDB CCP and the 2 EDB CCP in Indochina. On February 1, 1955, the 1 EDB CCP became the Colonial Parachute Brigade. Post-Indochina, the brigade. On February 25, 1958, the BPC became the Brigade École des Parachutistes Coloniaux (BEPC). On December 1, 1958, the BEPC became the Brigade de Parachutistes d'Outre-mer (BPOM). On November 1, 1960, the BPOM became the Brigade Parachutiste Infantry de Marine (BPIMAR). On December 31, 1961, the BPIMAR was dissolved. The regiment. On November 1, 1960, the Center of Instruction of the 1st Marine Infantry Parachute Regiment was created at Bayonne. On January 1, 1973, the 1st Marine Infantry Parachute Regiment, 1er PIMA, was assigned and tasked with special operations. History, garrisons, campaigns and battles. Despite of its name, the 1er PIMA does belong to the French Army. The naval infantry background dates back to 1762, when units of the French Army were detached to the French Navy for shipborne and overseas duties. Heir to the 1st Colonial Parachute Commando Demi Brigade, which origins date back to World War II. Under the impulsion of Captain George Burgay, the 1st Air Company was created in England on September 15, 1940, with parachute units of the Special Air Service. This company was engaged in Crete, Libya, Tunisia, Britannia, Belgique, the Netherlands. The company was then dissolved, then redesignated as SAS Parachute Demi Brigade from 1946 to 1949. Then 1st Colonial Parachute Commando Demi Brigade from 1949 to 1955 in Indochina, then BPC in Algeria from 1955 to 1958. The BCCP dissolved and redesignated from 1959 to 1960 GIBPOM, then in 1960 BPCIMAR, and renamed in 1962 1er PIMAR, which maintained the guard of the SAS emblem. Despite of the designation, like all troops de marine units, the 1er PIMA belongs to the French Army. The naval infantry background dates back to 1762, when units of the French Army were detached to the French Navy for shipborne and overseas duties. Successive garrisons: September 1940, Ringway. 1941, garrison in Beirut, then Damascus. 1942, garrison at Cabrit on the Canal de Suez. 1943, garrison at Cambly, United Kingdom. Following the war, garrison in France. 1960, creation of the 1er PIMAR and garrison at Bayonne. World War II, September 1940, creation and instruction at Ringway. March 15, 1941, first operation of the Free French Forces in France. Division of sections, 1 retained and 2 other sections destined for the Moyen-Orient. July 21, 1941, embarkment of the Moyen-Orient, then garrison in Beirut, then in Damascus. January 2, 1942. Section attached to Special Forces SAS of David Stirling and takes garrison in Cabreton, Canal de Suez. June 1942. Operation in Crete, then Matubad, Erna, Benina, Bas and others. July 1942. Operations in Cyrenaique. January 1943. Operations in Tunisia. Spring 1943. Instruction at Camberley. Beginning 1944. Instruction Centre of French SAS in Scotland. June 1944. Combined task forces with FFI and 2nd U.S. Division. August 1944. Operations and SAS participation to the liberation of Paris. November 11, 1944. The two French SAS Regiment parade on the Champs-Élysées in Paris in presence of General de Gaulle, following which the 2nd Parachute Chasseurs Regiment was bestowed with the Compagnon de la Libération. December 23, 1944. Reinforcements in Ardennes. February 1945. Regrouping in England. April 1945. Operations in Pays-Bas. The 1RPIMA inherited the traditions of the two Free French Special Air Service regiments that served with distinction alongside the British brothers-in-arms of the SAS Brigade during World War II. On September 15, 1940, General Charles de Gaulle signed the activation order of the 1 Air Compagnie d'Infanterie de l'Air des Forces Françaises Libres, a first Free French Airborne Infantry Company under the command of Captain Brigade. The 1 Air CIA started carrying out operational missions by parachute insertion into occupied France in March 1941. The company was then split into two components: a covert action unit used in clandestine operations and a conventional ununiformed company that was sent to North Africa in September 1941 to fight the Axis forces with the British forces. A very good relationship was quickly established between Captain Brigade and Major Stirling, the commander of the newly created Special Air Service. The French detachment was soon incorporated into the SAS and became the French Squadron. From 1942 to 1943, the French SAS roamed the region, ranging as far as Crete, hunting down Axis forces and destroying their aircraft and supply dumps. In November 1943, the 3 and 4 Bataillons d'Infanterie de l'Air were created and incorporated in the SAS Brigade with the British and Belgian counterparts of the 1st and 2nd SAS regiments. The Free French SAS took an important part in the liberation of Europe. In Brittany, a little after midnight on D-Day, June 6, 1944, Caporal Émile Bouettard was the first killed in action in Plumeless, Morbihan. On August 1, 1944, the 3 and 4 Bataillons d'Infanterie de l'Air were renamed 2 and 3 Regiments de Chasseurs Parachutists. As a reward for the bravery, King George VI awarded the Free French SAS the red beret of the British SAS, which replaced the black beret worn until then. As the war drew to a close, 52 French SAS sticks were parachuted over the Netherlands on April 7, 1945, causing major havoc in the rear areas of German occupation forces and easing pressure on the forward thrust of the 2nd Canadian Army Corps. On May 8, 1945, the Free French SAS could look back with pride at their achievements. They had been amongst the very first to join Sir David Stirling in North Africa and had taken a major part in the epic battles of the SAS in Africa, France, Belgique, the Netherlands and Germany, earning French and foreign awards in so doing. The regimental colours of the 1RPIMA have also been decorated with the U.S. Bronze Star Medal, the Dutch Bronze and Leeuw, and the Belgian Croix de Guerre. Today, this SAS heritage is still evident through its regimental regimental motto, qui ose gagne, and in the awarding of the R.H.F.S wings, reminiscent of the wartime SAS operational wings that can only be awarded to one RPIMA operators after they have successfully passed a series of strict selection requirements, including operational deployments. Between 1945 and 1954, the unit that was later to become the 1 RPIMA after a series of name changes took part in the war in Indochina, performing several of the more than 160 combat jumps carried out by French paratroopers during that conflict. After the war, the regiment underwent structural changes and became a training depot for the entire colonial airborne forces. As such, it did not take part in the Algerian conflict. In 1961, RPIMA is created. It remained in the training role until 1974, when the 1 RPIMA was transformed into a Special Forces unit, a role it still has today. Its mission has been mostly to support France's interests in Africa. Between 1974 and 1981, the 1 RPIMA underwent another mission change. It then focused on long-range reconnaissance patrols for almost a decade, while it still used its training skills training friendly forces abroad. The 80s and 90s were busy years for the regiment. These were the days when it deployed dozens of times to various hotspots on the planet. While engaged in Operation Desert Storm, the 1 RPIMA lost 2 of its men in Iraq in 1991. A year later, the creation of the French Special Operations Command led to a major shake-up of French Special Forces units in order to incorporate what had been learned in the First Gulf War. As part of this process, in 1997, the nucleus of what was to become the Army's BSFD was created, and the 1 RPIMA became its core unit. All the while, the regiment participated in operations in the Balkans and in Africa. It was specifically involved in stalking war criminals in Bosnia, leading to several successful arrests of individuals indicted for war crimes. Today, part of the French Army Special Forces Brigade, the 1 RPIMA is a modern, highly skilled and experienced Special Forces unit organized along company lines. The main strength of the regiment lies in its 3 R.H.F.S companies, each specialized in a specific field such as HAHO, Halo, counterterrorism, amphibious, jungle, mountain and motorized patrols operations, and its R.H.F.S signal company dedicated to the C3 support of special operations. The 1 RPIMA also fields a training and operations company tasked with providing selection, basic and continuation training of the unit's manpower, and the logistics company which supports the regiment in its daily and operational missions. Unit Specialization: CTLO, GDC, THP, RCO, PRS, RPO, Mountain, Arctic, Desert and Jungle Warfare, Explosives and Demolitions, Organization and Structure. Due to its long history with the British Special Air Service, much of the 1 RPIMA core aspects are based upon the British SAS. Each company specializes in a particular area such as maritime, air and parachuting operations, mobility. 4 main R.H.F.S combat companies: 1 E Compagnie, 2 E Compagnie, 3 E Compagnie, 4 E Compagnie. There is also 1 command and logistics company and a training and operations company which is in charge of providing the selection, initial and continuation training. Each company is split in R.H.F.S sections. Each section includes 30 men. The 1 RPIMA is based in Bayonne, what makes possible amphibious and mountain training. It is also ideal as it is very close to the centered entrainment adaptee, Europe's largest and most modern close-quarter battle facility, and to the dedicated assets of the French Army's Special Forces Aviation Detachment and Airborne School, two establishments that are essential to its training and operations. Weapons and equipment. The main weapon used by the 1 RPIMA is the FAMAS G2 5.56 assault rifle, standard French Army weapon. Besides this, H and AMP K416, SIG 550, M4 and F-car assault rifles are also used by French Army Special Forces. Sometimes M203 or HK69 grenade launchers are also used. For CQB, the MP5 series and FNP90 are used as the main weapons. The Glock 17 and H and AMP KUSP are the standard sidearm carried by the soldiers. The R1 37mm grenade launcher is used in CQB work to launch CS gas into buildings. The Remington 12-gauge pump shotgun is also used during CQB to take down doors. FN Mini-Me is used as light machine gun, 5.56mm and 7.72mm, and snipers use the H and AMP K417 Heket 2 rifles. Sometimes Milan missiles have used in combat to provide fire support. They wear standard French camouflage and webbing, except when doing CT/HR CQB work. CQB kit includes a black balaclava, black Nomex coveralls, non-slip boots, special webbing and holsters, medical kit for teams, medics, gas masks, and special communications equipment. VPS Panhard VPS, based on the Mercedes-Benz 270 CDIG Class 4x4 light tactical vehicle, is the vehicle used by French Army Special Forces. It is a rapidly deployable vehicle capable of long-duration missions in extremes of climate. An armored floor provides anti-land mine protection to the crew, and VPS is air transportable by C-160 Transall or C-130 Hercules. In the French Army, the VPS is equipped with 360° ring mount over the rear body, which is armed with a Browning 12.7mm heavy machine gun, a Gatling machine gun. One more 7.62mm machine is mounted on swivel station at the front of the crew compartment, which is operated by the vehicle commander. Skills. The 1 RPIMA is tasked with several jobs. These include bodyguarding VIPs in hot zones, direct action, reconnaissance, sabotage, unconventional warfare and hostage rescue. While the name states they are Marine Infantry, they are in fact Army and have no amphibious training. The 1 RPIMA relies on a number of skills to successfully carry out its missions. Most skills are either regiment or brigade specific and need constant honing to be kept at the desired level of proficiency. They can be divided into several generic fields. The R.H.F.S basic skills. The R.H.F skills are given to enlisted men and NCOs after they have completed a series of organic and basic regimental courses. Basic training leading to the first rung of the R.H.F ladder is the elementary R.H.F technical certificate, which is 6 months long. R.H.F training covers all the basics of the SF operator's functions. It is then complemented by specific courses. A R.H.F group is led by a senior NCO or a lieutenant. NCOs are generally former enlisted men who have risen from the ranks of the regiment, while officers come from various specialized schools before following a specific course complemented by on-job training within the groups. When fully qualified and operational, a R.H.F team member has reached reached the rank of Caporal-Chef, and has been in the regiment for 5 years and spent more than 2/3 of his time in the regiment following courses, and has been deployed on real-world operations probably once a year. Air insertion parachute operations. Each member of the regiment is static line parachute qualified using some specific low-altitude dropping techniques. The R.P.I.M.A. can also field different teams proficient in both HAHO and HALO techniques. Each company has a HALO capability. Helicopter operations, fast roping and helicopter rappelling, special purpose infiltration and extraction rigs, LZ marking, special operation procedures, helicopter fire support, helicopter-borne sniper support, light helicopter insertion and extraction air delivery. The R.P.I.M.A. is unique in the way it has integrated air delivery component with teams able to rig an airdrop light to heavy loads and pallets in support of special operations from cargo aircraft of dedicated Special Operations Division of the French Air Force. Amphibious operations, open circuit breathing apparatus. The R.P.I.M.A. can field a complete open-air circuit team for beach-recce riverine operations using light crafts, including kayaks. Closed-circuit breathing apparatus. The R.P.I.M.A. can field a complete closed-circuit team for covert underwater missions. This team is not a combat diver team. Its purpose is to use waterways as another infiltration method. Motorized operations. True to the SAS ancestors, the R.P.I.M.A. has always maintained a motorized patrol capability. It currently centers on PATSAS patrols that are tasked with developing and refining the methods and equipment needed for such operations. In addition to the PATSAS, each RAPAS company fields several motorized RAPAS groups. The mounts of motorized patrols are modified Peugeot P4S, Mercedes VPS and ACM-ATV LRA trucks, all fitted with machine guns, automatic cannons, mortars, AGLs or ATGWs. The Special Recce Patrols, having understood with time and experience that it is always better to act on intelligence which had been gathered and analyzed by operators that intimately know which method of operation would be best used by the actioned groups, the R.P.I.M.A. has decided to include in its specialized teams the PRS concept. The PRS are infiltrated ahead of the action teams and provide real-time intelligence on the target area. The information gathered by the PRS is then transmitted by a variety of secure means to the command level, which then disseminates it to the action groups. Counterterrorism. The R.P.I.M.A. can field several CT teams, all backed by specialized sniper teams proficient in calibers ranging from 5.56 mm to 12.7 mm. All ranks of the company are CT trained. The regiment benefits from proximity to the centered entrainment Adaptation, Europe's largest and most modern CQB facility. The CTA is located in Power and offers unmatched live firing capabilities for all sorts of CT scenarios. The CQB skills are kept honed to a high level thanks to regular training in the CTA and cross-training with French and Allied CT units. Bodyguard Teams. The R.P.I.M.A. has been involved in bodyguard duties for the last 25 years. The regiment only provides bodyguard teams to high-ranking officials at theater level. A fully qualified RAPAS team member is also bodyguard qualified. Jungle, desert and mountain operations so as to prepare RAPAS units of the R.P.I.M.A. for operations over difficult terrain. It can use French and foreign training centers on the world. Mountain, jungle and desert training exercises are scheduled every year. R.H.F.S team members are sent regularly as permanent instructors to jungle and desert schools in French Guiana or friendly African countries. Every year, the regiment sends some of its members to foreign schools to improve its tactics and procedures in hostile environments. A regular influx of experienced NCOs volunteering from the French 27th Mountain Infantry Brigade keeps the regiment up to date on modern mountaineering techniques, selection and training. Officers and NCOs joining the regiment have to attend the same selection and training as enlisted personnel. Enlisted soldiers in the French army can try to join Super RPIMAD between the first and third years of active duty. First step is a profile selection. Candidates will be selected regarding unit requirements and personal file. Candidates selected must attend the 2 weeks basic airborne training prior the SF training. For those who are not already enlisted in an airborne regiment, second step of selection is adaptation training and stage commando, lasting 12 weeks. Candidates must be above average to continue the training. Most cases of failure and RTU occur during this phase. The last step of selection is the staged CTERAPAS, lasting 6 months. After completion of this stage, candidates are fully assigned to the regiment as Special Force soldier. They will attend additional training to become specialists. Traditions. The anniversary of the troops de Marine. The anniversary is celebrated for combats in Bazet, the village which was apprehended and abandoned 4 consecutive times under orders, respectively on August 31st and September 1st, 1870. Au nom de Dieu, vive le colonial. In the name of God, vive le colonial. The Marceau and the Biggers have for Saint God. This war calling concludes intimate ceremonies which part life in the regiments, offered also at origin as an act of grace to Charles de Foucault. St. Michael, Paratrooper Regiment, the 1R.P.I.M.A. celebrates each year on September 29th, the patron saint of paratroopers, a celebration with lieu of various manifestations in presence of veterans. Motto: Who dares, wins is the general motto of the British SAS, translated in French to Qui ose gagne. Insignia. Regimental colors, honors, battle honors. The list of operations shows a worldwide commitment since it ranges from Afghanistan to Africa and the Balkans. Crete 1942, Libya 1942, Sud Tunisienne 1943. France 1944, Ardennes Belgies 1945, Hollande 1945, Indochina 1946 to 1954, Kuwait 1991, 2011 Libyan Civil War. Decorations. The most decorated French and Allied unit of the Second World War, Croix de la Légion d'honneur, Ordre de la Libération, as heir to the 2nd Parachute Chasseur Regiment of the Air Force. The regiment bears wearing the decoration bestowed on November 11, 1944 by General Charles de Gaulle, under the Arc de Triomphe at Paris, to the 2nd Parachute Chasseur Regiment 2 ERCP of the Air Force. Croix de Guerre 1939–1945 with 6 palms. Croix de Guerre des Têtes d'Opérations extérieures with 3 palms. Croix de la Valeur Militaire avec 3 palms. Bronze Lion. The men of this regiment bear wearing the 4 The 4 bearing colors of the Légion d'honneur 1 Brigade de Parachutistes Colonio. The 4 bearing colors of the Croix des Têtes. The 4 bearing colors of the Valeur Militaire. The 4 bearing colors of the Croix de la Libération.